to the ABC Podcast.
Always be cool.
The show where your hosts, DC and BK, showcase your local business and real estate pros going gangbusters in leadership, community involvement, and just being cool.
Here are your hosts, serial entrepreneurs, mortgage experts at Summit Lending, and partners in crime, Darren Copeland and Bobby Kerr.
All right, everybody, it's the Always Be Cool podcast, hanging out with your hosts, Bobby Kerr, Darren Copeland.
What's up, everyone?
We are super stoked today. We've got Kansas City's power couple in entrepreneurship and power sports. We have Miss Gail Worth and Mr. Gale Holsman.
All right, everyone, here we go. We have a couple of serial entrepreneurs today. We have Gail Worth. She's an expert at branding and pivoting when needed. She took her passion for motorcycles and built it to an empire. She bought her first dealership in 1999, which is super cool. And also, better half, Gail Holsman. He's the owner of American Sweeping and American Waste Systems, along with Holsman Classic Cars, Holsman Stables. Holy
crazy.
smokes, man. Just all around awesome people. We really look forward to hearing your guys' backstories here. Thank you for being with us. So thank you so much for hanging out with us today, you guys. Let's go.
Yes. Awesome.
Right?
So we like to dive right in, guys. We like to kind of start with the why, like why you're here, why we're here, and why you do what you do. And there's a couple things that Gail in the pre-show, Miss Gail, in the pre-show questionnaire that you filled out for us, and you said something along the lines of, this is where, speaking about Gail's power sports, this is where motorcycle and power sports dreams are made and where adventurer dreams come true.
Yes.
So maybe talk a little bit about that and start there. And just maybe, I'm assuming that's kind of the motivation to really do what you do each and every day.
Yeah, it truly is. I am in the motorcycle business because I love motorcycles. I love to ride. I love to ride long distance. I love to ride short distance. I love the people that ride motorcycles. It's just everything about it I adore. And to, oh, there I am. Hello. Hello. Thank you. Okay. So, we just create adventures. I mean, people want to go on an adventure in their life, and that's what I get to help them do. They come in with a dream, and I get to help them make that dream come true.
Right.
I love it.
And how did this passion start? Because we were reading that this passion started around you were 10 years old, right? Is that correct? Is that when you were just
Family
like,
business.
You're just like,
Yes.
oh man, like what was that aha moment that you're like, wow, I absolutely love this?
Okay, so I learned to ride mini bikes when I was very young and loved it, and went to work for my parents. They owned a Harley-Davidson dealership.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I worked for them for a few years when I finally realized that this is the coolest thing on the planet. I want to be a big part of it. More than just working here, I want to own a dealership. So I ended up buying one of my dad's dealerships, and that was became Gail's Harley-Davidson.
That's amazing. I don't think I realized that your parents were in the business as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's the
That's
Worth Harley-Davidson.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's where the worth comes from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was 1999. Is that correct?
In 99, I bought it.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so I was very young. I was 35 years old.
Wow.
And I looked like I was 25. Okay. So I looked really super young. I was a girl in a man's world, and I had this uphill to climb. And people looked at me like I was crazy.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, like, what, do you really know what you're doing?
Right.
But I wanted it so bad, and I knew I was going to succeed, and there was nobody that was going to tell me that I couldn't.
That's amazing.
So I did it.
Well, as serial entrepreneurs ourselves, and we own several businesses as well, that's the mindset that you have to have as an entrepreneur. Is no one's going to tell me no.
Right.
I'm going to make this work. I'm going to succeed, no matter the cost, of course, in an ethical manner, right? And always doing the right thing. Always be cool. ABC, that's the name of the podcast.
I love it.
And so we love hearing that. So maybe talk a little bit, Mr. Gale,
Yes,
of
sir.
how the partnership came to be in your guys in life, because I will give you credit. You probably haven't seen this, but Miss Gail, in that pre-questionnaire that she filled out for us, she spoke highly about the value of partnership in life and business. And I'll give you a quote to get you started, get you a little teary-eyed.
Oh, my.
She said, I am so blessed.
Here we go, man. You're fine.
She said, I'm so blessed to have a man, my boyfriend Gail, standing next to me through it all. He helped me celebrate the highs and helps me hold my shit together when life gets hard.
Nice.
So talk about that value of partnership in life and in business, and kind of how you hold each other's hands through it all.
Well, I tell you, when Gail, back in the 90s, she was married. I was divorced. And I played in a rock and roll band called Stage Fright for 25 years.
Nice.
Same guys, believe it or not. And she came to a bike night one night, and I told her, I said, if you ever divorce that guy you're married to, could be the Gail and Gail show.
True.
Did you really?
Of course, I was teasing. I was teasing.
true.
That's true story.
Were you teasing though?
I was kind of. So truly, so that was in 96. In 04, I'm playing at a place over here in off Red Bridge, and one of her sales gals followed us around. We were friends. And said, "Hey, did you hear Gail Worth got divorced?" Well, I didn't have a clue.
Right.
I said, "No kidding." I was going to ask her if I bought every motorcycle on her floor, she wouldn't have anything to do if she'd go out with me. So the very next morning, I get a call from Rosie, and she says, if you buy this Buell that you've been looking at, she'll go out with you. So I went down, wrote a check for $12,800 some dollars, went in there, laid it on her desk, and said, "Okay, there, I bought the motorcycle Wednesday night. I'm going to come get you, and we're going to go out." And I owned a limousine company at the time.
Right. Did she take the check?
She damn right she did.
No check.
Are you kidding? That's money, baby. So I showed up in this limousine because I had my own business. I got my best driver, Kettle One, dozen roses. I mean, I had this. Think about the stage here.
A game.
So I rolled into Camden Woods where she was living at the time, and stuffed her in the car, and we've got Rosie and Don to go with us. And we went down and had Italian on Southwest Boulevard, then went over to the melting pot on the plaza, which is a nice little cruise in a limo.
Yeah.
And we had a little melting pot, and so we're riding back Ward Parkway back towards her house, and I listened for 20 minutes about how busy she is, how cool she is, how she's not going to have any time.
I'm so
I'm busy. You realize, I don't know if I'm going to have time for you. And I just giggled and said, "Yeah, okay." So she gets on Slacker's show. No, this is a true story.
Yeah.
She gets on Slacker's show the very next day and announced in Kansas City that she's going to start dating Gail Holsman. Well, boys, I got girlfriends. My phone is ringing, going, hey, who is this gal on the radio? Says she's dating you. And I said, uh-oh. So that's pretty
I
much
could have messing up with all of his harem.
That was it, man. My hair.
And this was literally the next day.
It's like somebody
It really
shot a
wasn't
gun
the
off
next
on
day.
a
It was
pond
next
and
week, but still, it did happen.
This is amazing.
So she pretty much went on the air and just shut it all down.
Shut it down, boy. I mean, I'm telling you, within like 30 minutes it was over with.
When I set my sights on something, it's done.
It happens. We've learned that already really quickly.
So, but anyway, so we started dating, and we've been together every day since, and it's been great.
Wow.
That is so cool.
And in our personality is such, everybody, well, you guys are so much alike, there's no way you're going to last. But really, I think the fact that we do what we do is why it is lasting.
Yeah.
Because, with the turmoil I go through sometimes and stuff she goes through, and, how it be in business today, it's different than what it was.
Right.
It's changing every day.
Right.
And it's great to be able to go home and go, man, you're not going to believe it. And she gets it.
Yeah.
I've had a few girlfriends didn't get it.
Yeah.
They didn't get much.
We got
Exactly.
Darren and I call them practice marriages.
Yeah, I get it.
Practice
Practice marriage.
You just get them out of the way, but you're right because and going home it has to be a safe landing place, right?
It's got to be.
So when you're just killing it all day and you come home, you don't want to fight another battle, right?
Right.
So if you can come home and you have a support of your other person that you're with, man, that's money. Like you can't even put a price on that.
It is
so
money.
right?
Yes.
And it has made it a lot more fun.
Yeah.
And I will tell you too, I interject right here, the key that's our success is whatever we do, no matter what it is, and we own a lot of companies, is to keep it fun. When it stops being fun, you got to do something different.
Right.
I mean, life's too short. I'm getting of age now where I'm seeing a lot of friends get sick and different things. So, it changes your attitude.
Yeah.
For sure.
So now you're thinking, okay, now, what are we going to do this last 25 years, 30 years?
The back nine. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
right. Yeah, right.
I'm going in the fourth quarter.
Right. But you're right. You got to keep it fun, though, right?
Gotta keep it fun.
What are we doing this for?
If you're not having a good time, stop doing whatever you're doing.
sure.
Exactly.
Or change it up somehow.
So we've said the word fun about 10 times in the last 60 seconds, and that's actually something. So DC and I, before the show, you've obviously been very, very visible in marketing, right, for the last 25 years. Radio, especially, TV.
Commercials,
Absolutely. So Darren and I are talking, and we're like, man, here's some of the things that come to mind whenever we think, in particular, about Miss Gail. It's energy. These are literally words we came up with. Energy, marketing, rock and roll, power sports, laughter, smile, and, look, fun. Capital F, capital U,
do have
capital
that
N,
there.
exclamation point.
Yeah, it is.
And so you guys saying that, I'm glad you did, because you obviously have carried that into all of your businesses, not to mention, that's your tagline.
Oh yeah, where every
Every
day's
day.
an excuse to have fun.
I mean,
Boo.
I've
It's
heard
like
that.
you've said that before.
How many times do you think you've said that? Like legit.
Oh my gosh.
And then with the
Millions.
laugh afterwards.
How many days times how many years I am? I don't. It's
Right.
like,
Did you
yeah.
come up with that tagline yourself?
Yes.
Did you
yes, I
really?
did. Yep.
Super cool.
It is.
Yeah.
Super cool. I just remember just Gail seeing her on the commercials, just nonstop. Mm-hmm. I mean,
Yeah.
those were being pumped out over the years like crazy. So it's really cool to have you guys in here.
Well, thanks.
You know, being the serial entrepreneurs, having all these companies,
cool.
and you know, when you see someone on TV, you almost feel like you know them after a while, right?
Yeah.
Well, as part of that, being out there all the time and getting my name known was what helped me when I gave up the Harley-Davidson franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I'm the only person in this entire country, actually in the entire world, that was able to give up Harley-Davidson and succeed the way I have.
I believe it.
Yeah.
And
Hands
the
on.
reason is because of the brand. I was able to drop Harley-Davidson, the brand Gail still survives.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Because honestly, until
fun.
we knew that you were coming on the podcast, I didn't really know that you weren't associated with Harley anymore because you had branded yourself.
Right.
Right. It's
Absolutely.
Gail,
Yep.
Right.
Nobody needs to know.
No. Sure. Exactly.
Did the local plant closing in 18 have anything to do with kind of that decision to pivot at all, or was it just completely?
No, what
Coincidental.
happened is Harley-Davidson has changed their outlook, their whole structure. And
Like their vision, basically.
yes, exactly. A bunch of executives came to me and said, here is what the future of Harley-Davidson looks like. We're out. Do you want to join us? If you do, let us help you get out. And so they did. And I can't thank Harley-Davidson Motor Company enough for everything that they have helped. I mean, they helped me immensely. They brought me to where I am today, and they helped me get out of the contract with them. And they're just an amazing company. And I'm surviving.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thriving.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
amazing. Yeah.
On their motorcycles.
Right. So they were ABC. They were always being cool.
They really were.
Right?
They really were. To this day, they're really great.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? I love that you said that because you just don't hear that enough in business today.
It's true, though.
Yeah.
Right? Especially on the parting of ways.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
It could have been bad, but it wasn't. It was fabulous.
Yeah. Very cool.
So, Mr. Gale, why don't you talk about? Let's talk some classic cars. Man.
Okay.
Because
Oh, it's his favorite subject
I
ever.
figured it might be.
Let's go with the path. Of
Well, let's talk about that classic car you got in the parking lot.
We can do that.
Yeah, right?
So I drove in because it's so dang hot.
Oh, man.
And the air conditioner and it's got the original AC,
Oh, it
factory
does.
AC, and
Does
it's
it
still
work?
intermittently. You know,
Sure.
so I didn't want to really haven't been driving in this heat. So I drove my truck in today, and then right before lunch, I was like, "Man, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna get the Camaro."
It's really cool.
So that way the Gales can see it. You know.
Sure, sure.
So
Awesome.
let's talk classic cars. We can
Sure.
talk mine a little bit, but I mean, you've got Gales. Or you got
Holsman's
Holsman classic cars,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And I was on the website today checking. You got some beauties. You've sold a lot of phenomenal vehicles.
I've been very
including
fortunate.
some Camaros like mine. So
Sure.
just talk about how you got into that.
Well, I mean, I got into it when I was 15. I bought my first 69 Z28 Camaro from Cecil Van Tau over on Mission Road before he built the store on Shawnee Mission Parkway. Brought all the money from my grandmother. She was fortunate enough, they had enough money. I went and bought it $4,300.
What year was this?
This is 1970.
Okay.
That's a
So,
lot
and
of
I
money back
just started driving.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's the car I wanted. It was blue with white stripes.
Oh, that was my first Camaro that I fell in love with. That's why I have this Camaro.
Well, you're going to love it because I've got it at my shop.
Shut up. You still have it?
Well, I found it. It's not, I'm not sure it's the same one because I haven't checked the IDs, but the same car.
Is it
Yeah,
black or
okay.
white interior?
It's black interior,
Nice.
but it doesn't have the houndstooth like yours.
Yeah.
It's got the regular seats.
Yep.
But
I love your
it's a-
houndstooth, by the way.
Yeah,
That's
the
cool.
houndstooth's cool. But it's a beautiful car. But anyway, so we got into it, and KCR was real popular. We'd go there every week. I bought a '66 Chevelle. We'd go tow it down the track and do all the crazy stuff you do.
Yeah.
He learned
And,
to drag race.
That's right. And now I got a rail. Anybody out there want a rail? Anyways, I'm getting too old to drive it, but the button's fun. But anyway, so we just started doing it. And as I got older and financially more comfortable, I could start buying cars. And what my goal was is to never owe on the cars. Now, that's the key.
Right.
If you're not paying juice, you have a lot more lateral
Right.
to be able to do what you want to do.
Exactly.
Now, I have friends of mine go out and get a credit line, which is in your business,
Yeah.
goes out and gets a credit line, and they're paying juice, and they're running behind. It's kind of like being at the casino, trying to get back on the blackjack table.
Right.
You can't do cars
We wouldn't
like
know
that.
anything about that.
Yeah, well, it's
No,
easy.
no.
It's easy to do.
Right.
It's easy to do.
It's easy to do.
So the key is buy one, fix it up, make it nice, make a little profit, take the profit, enough time that finally you're starting to get some cars ahead, and now they're paying for each other, and you turn it into a business. And that's what happened here.
Nice.
It took years, though. I mean, this is not a quick.
Sure.
I mean, this is something that takes years.
Yeah.
Well,
Careers.
and I want you to keep going, but this is not specific to the car business. This is a business lesson in general. Like when you're listening to this, debt can kill the business before it even gets going.
Oh, without a doubt.
Now, it's
Very
not
good
saying
point.
that all debt is bad.
No.
But you have to be very careful in how much you're leveraged so that you don't become over leveraged. So you're, again, the casino analogy.
Hey,
So-
Bob,
Exactly.
Yep.
Would this be a good place to interject of anyone listening that if they're maybe in
Yes.
some debt on that stuff, maybe they should do a cash out refi on their home to either buy a
Absolutely.
motorcycle or a car?
Or a
Oh, yeah, thinking. Yes, it.
I love it.
I love it.
Thinking about money.
I love it.
Debt. Okay, that's hilarious.
That's
Well,
awesome.
money is the business. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
deal. At the end of the day, however you get it, whether you're hauling trash, selling cars, or whatever.
Yeah.
Selling motorcycles. But the key to the car thing, though, is you got to keep it fun. And what Gail taught me this, and she really did teach me this, boys, when I started dating her.
Yeah.
And that is, you only get one wow. You only get one wow. And when you walk in her dealership, that's the wow. Now, here's the one that makes you successful. The wow you get when they walk out of your dealership. So, that's what I do in my cars, because I try to keep nice enough cars
Right.
that you look and go, wow, I like to have that Corvette, because it's a nice Corvette.
Yeah.
Now, if it needed a paint job and tires and wheels, you think, well, that'd be a nice rebuild and it's an okay, but I don't really want to do all
Right,
that.
right.
That's not a wow. So the key is to get this successful is to keep the wow factor in it. And that's
Right.
what we do.
Well, let's be honest. When someone comes across, whether it's a motorcycle or a car, and I love that wow factor. If they see a car and it's a wow, they're going to stroke a check for it, right?
You bet.
It's not going to be, well, I'm going to think about it, and I'm going to have to get it painted. I'm going to have to get the tires and all that. They're going to be like, no, that's amazing.
Pull the trigger.
Let's go.
Yeah, right.
And here's the challenge on doing this type of business. And that is very few folks will loan money on a 69 Camaro like yours. You have to have the wherewithal to be able to stroke a check. So you're dealing with a certain bird when a guy walks in your yard. And you could tell real quick whether or not he's a tire kicker, which is fine. I love people come, they want to talk, they want to play. I'll hang out with them all day.
Right.
But you can really tell whether a guy's really serious or not, because it takes a certain individual to plop 40 grand down for a car that sold for $4 grand. 60 years ago.
Right, that's true.
So you think about that.
So story. So it's been 3 years since I bought that one, and I was here in the office, Darren and and I posted something on Facebook that morning, and I said, "Hey, if anybody knows where I can find a '69 Camaro
Sure.
or a '70 Chevelle, I'm going to start looking."
Sure.
And that day, and I'm a big Miami Dolphins fan, so teal's my favorite color.
Yep.
And that
And we
day,
won't hold that against you,
it's
folks.
all right.
Right.
It's all right. So somebody on Facebook replies and says, "Hey, check out Fastlane Auto out of St. Charles."
Yep, I know Dave real well.
Yeah. So I go to the website, and on the homepage of the website,
Sure.
is my car. It says "coming soon." So I pick up the phone. I'm freaking out. I walk into Darren's office, and I'm like, "Bro, like, look at this. This is made for me."
I think you said, bro, can you go to St. Louis with me tomorrow? And I'm like,
That's great.
I love it.
So anyway, so I called Dave, and he's like, "Yeah, we got it. We just got it.
Yeah.
We haven't even inspected it yet. We haven't done anything to it." I go, "Here's my credit card. I'll be there in 4 hours."
You manifested
So
it.
again, I did manifest it, but the wow factor, right? Number one, just the image of it was good enough to wow me.
Right.
I show up, then I see the dealership.
Oh, and
Right,
that's
so
something.
it's like people
Right.
walking into Gale's.
Sure.
Right? I see the dealership at Fastlane Auto, and there's 200 classic cars, and there's Shelbys
Yeah.
and Corvettes and
That's
Mustangs.
so
You know what I mean?
cool. Yes.
He's the hot deal.
And so then, do you think I left that place without buying it?
Oh, no.
No
Hell
way.
no! Like I wasn't going to let anybody else have that. So I love that you talk about the wow factor, not only in the beginning but also the end. Because I'll say the very first day that I got it, they delivered it here. Do you remember this?
you had something, was it the brakes or what?
No.
Wow.
They dropped it off. I drove it off or drove it around the parking lot. Came back into work. Go to the car. At the end of the day, damn thing doesn't start.
Uh-oh.
So-
Battery's dead.
Well, no, alternator. It was a couple different things. Oh, it just needed a new starter.
Okay.
So I call Dave and I'm like, "Hey, man,
Yeah.
like,
Darn
just
it.
got this.
Right.
they made it all right.
Yeah.
And so that's part of the wow factor too. So I love these business lessons that pop up. It's not just the sale. You can't just get the hook. You got to take care of people afterwards, whether it's mortgages with Summit Lending or Gales and Gail.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got to keep the wow factor going.
Well,
Absolutely.
And also, I
Good
was
point.
reading something like the percentage of clients that return to a business when something minor has hiccuped is through the roof. So
Yeah.
like an incident like that, or like, let's say if you go to a hotel and the dinner was off or whatever, but if they make it right, now you're even sold even more.
Exactly.
You're like, I will absolutely go back to that.
That's the
place.
guy I want to do business with.
Yes, you are so right. You know, I love it. I shouldn't say I love it, but I do. When I find out that there's a person on the floor right now that's a little upset and wants to talk to me, I'm like, oh, yes. Because now I get to talk to them and make them happy. And then when they leave, they will come back again and again and again.
Adversity
It's
is
your time to
opportunity.
shine.
Yes,
it's your time to
exactly.
shine, right?
Yeah.
You're like, let's go. Let's
Yeah.
fix this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So that blue Camaro I was telling you about?
Yeah.
I bought it from Dave.
Did you really?
No
Swear to
way.
God.
That's awesome.
In 2006.
Probably,
you've had that long?
probably
Yeah.
06.
Wow.
Yeah.
2006.
So I grew up in Blue Springs, and my next door neighbor had a 69 Z28, royal blue, white racing stripes, black leather interior, and
Yeah.
that was my next door neighbor. He was, late 30s, and I was 12, and I just would go walk into his garage and just look
Yeah.
and just stare at it and just sit in it, and it was so cool. And so there was no chance I was going to get really anything besides a 68 or
Good for you.
69 Camaro,
Sure.
the first classic car I got.
Yeah.
So.
That's so cool.
That's great.
So, Miss Gail, back to you. So let's talk a little bit about. I love the history of the Worth family. Obviously, you bought one of the dealerships. Your you have a brother
Yeah.
or a couple brothers. Is that
I
right?
have two brothers. Yes.
And they bought the other ones.
Yes. So my brother Rick bought another dealership, and then my brother David and my dad both my parents remained partners at another one.
Yep,
And
that's right.
recently Rick ended up buying that one, and because David was, I'm done with retail. I tell you, retail is tough.
Mm-hmm.
So he now sells real estate and is loving it.
Let's talk a little more business lessons when it comes to expansion. I mean, both of you have had great success, not only starting, one business, but then either growing that same business into other locations or just growing in general, expanding in from from Belton to Grandview, et cetera. You've obviously expanded vertically. There's a huge lesson talking about some of your, your waste,
ways.
your
Yep.
waste companies going vertically. So I think we would love to hear some business lessons from each of you on expansion and growth.
Okay. Well, in my particular instance, what made it nice for me is when I started sweeping parking lots. For example, in '96, I remember the day we were in Daytona. I was Corporate Woods. I'm sweeping Corporate Woods out here on 435, and I couldn't get Ball to pick up the roll-off container.
Okay.
And the guy calls me and says, "If that roll-off container's not off my job by tomorrow, I'm firing you." And I went, "Oh, this is great."
Super.
So I literally got on my motorcycle, rode across the state to Tampa from Daytona to RDK and bought a roll-off truck. Truly, bought a roll-off truck.
Really?
140 grand. So I walk in the guy's office.
96.
Yeah, this is 96. Well, now they're 290,000. But
Yeah.
ridiculous. So anyway, so I run over. I get the truck bought. They sent it up the next week because they had to do a few things to it. But they did deliver it, kind of like your Camaro. And so I made a deal with Corporate Woods. Look, I bought a truck. Here's the receipt. It's coming. If I have to pull that box off, I'll do it. But I bought 10 boxes for me and 10 boxes to pay for my 10 boxes. Well, next thing I know, man, the phone's ringing off the hook.
Yeah.
Everybody hated Devin Ball back in that day. Sorry, Ronnie. Of course, he's not here with us anymore, and I love him to death. But there, trash business is tough, man. I mean, you see GFL and all the stuff's going on.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, we got into roll-off business. And then what happened is I got a roll-off sitting on this job. Guy goes, I need a toilet. I said, "You need a toilet?" I said, "Yeah, I need a toilet for my guys to go in out here when we're building this building." I said, "Oh, well, that's easy." So I go to Satellite and buy 200 toilets in a $150,000 truck. Now I'm really getting into debt,
There we
right?
go.
So I get this all pulled together. Now I'm becoming a one-stop shop. Well, Santa Calagon, Shawnee days, Lee Summit days, we do all those. Nice. Well, the reason we do them is now with the roll-offs and with the toilets, Gail was renting stages from Soundcheck for an ungodly amount of money. So I went and built one. So I bring it to her bike nights and weekends, and we set it up in her parking lot.
Is that
And
the
guess
total
what?
venue? Is that
That's total
yeah.
venue. So now suddenly we're doing stages. So now you got toilets, roll-offs. We can clean up the steak. I mean, it's a one-stop shop. So when St. Calgon's next weekend, you'll see I'll have 70 people out there doing them, the cleaning up, the roll-off boxes I can control, the toilets I get to control, all the little dumpsters around the middle of the thing I get to control. And it's worked out real good. But my biggest accomplishment is the Kansas City Chiefs, which is Arrowhead. I started July 19th of 1984 doing the Michael Jackson Victory Tour.
Oh, no way.
Do you guys remember that?
So wanted to go to that.
Oh, I went to all three.
But my parents, I remember that at the time, the tickets were like $30.
$35. To be exact.
Wow.
$35.
Yeah, which was way out of a single mother teacher salary back in the day.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we did not to go. I know exactly that concert.
But you know, that concert, though, the cool thing was there was no surcharges like there today.
Yeah.
When you call up, you get a $35 ticket. Find out it's
double
$200.
price,
Yeah.
Inconvenience.
Yeah, the
fees.
convenience
Yeah,
fee.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but anyway, so we started there. So we've been at Arrowhead ever since, and next year is 40 years. That's a lot of
So
years.
you've
to
never
occur.
lost that contract?
No.
Wow, that's impressive in and of itself because
Mm-hmm.
I know some other guys that own some other portable toilet companies.
Yeah.
and they've been in and out of the roll.
Now I've only had that.
whatever.
Now, in all fairness, let me qualify that. I started doing the toilets for him in 2005.
Okay,
But I mean, I've been sweeping all those years.
oh, you've been tied.
You started
to
Been
sweeping
tied
it.
to
yeah,
it.
that's
Tied to
incredible.
Yeah, so I started sweeping it for all those years, and then now I don't sweep it, but I do the toilets.
Yep.
And then next year, now I've got 5 more years on this contract, but with the contracts when I talk to these folks, they do 10, 15 years, which is a long time.
Yeah,
Now I did 5 this time because I'm getting
And
paid.
trash. You do trash.
Trash, I do all the roll offs. Yeah,
That's amazing.
daughters pick up all the parking lots.
This longevity with the Kansas City Chiefs and Arrowhead is a direct reflection of how he does business.
Which is, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say,
Right.
a relationship-based
Yes.
business.
It's
Yes.
relationship.
right?
Yeah, Rocco Mazzella, which he retired this season, was my boss for the last 12 years. Very easy to get along with. I now have a new boss, very easy to get along with. And if you do your job, they pretty well let you do your job. And that's what's cool about Clark. Clark gave me a Super Bowl ring, which I thought was very cool.
Wow, that's
Which,
classy.
and to be a contractor,
That's
get a
cool.
Super Bowl
That's
ring, that's a
amazing.
big deal.
Do you have it on you?
No, I should have worn it today. I don't wear it very often.
Right.
It's big.
Yeah, it is. We've seen it. It's
So
beautiful.
can we just talk about that for a second? So how did you feel when you received a Super Bowl ring? Did you tear up a little bit, maybe?
Brandon Hamilton, which is my big boss, he's about third from the top. He handles all the workings of the stadium on my end. And he called me up where I was getting my captain license renewed down for Lake the Ozarks. And because I got this dream, I'm going to be a captain someday in Florida and take you guys out fishing. But anyway,
Sign me up.
Let's go.
let's do it. But anyway, so I was down there and he called me up and he goes, so what size ring do you wear? And I said, I have no clue. So I had my guy next to me and I said, let me borrow your ring. I put it on and I looked in there and said 13. I said, I think it's 13. He says, okay. So he got me 13 and it worked. But I didn't know what he was doing.
Thank
You
goodness.
had no idea.
I had no idea.
What a classy
So
thing.
between him and Rocco, they stewed up this little deal that they rewarded me with the Super Bowl.
That's
which is-
epic.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
That is amazing.
Those guys are really fun to work for because, like I say, you want a boss that trusts you. And if your boss is trusting you and you're doing a good job, it makes it fun.
Right.
And what better fun than work for the Kansas City Chiefs?
Well, and don't you think
Especially at this time. Mm-hmm. Now, I do remember when it was 2 and 15,
tough.
too.
It was tough.
Yeah.
That
right.
was that. You look out there and you see A-lots only half full. I'm sure the hunts weren't real happy then.
Yeah.
But they're getting rewarded now, I promise you.
Yeah, that's like the next year when we're drafting Eric Fisher, #1 overall type of stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about steward leadership and come from the top. But don't you think that a lot of the Chiefs organization, it's a business too, right?
Oh, it is.
It's a business.
Oh,
but
there's
don't
no
you think a lot of that has to do with the family who owns that, like the Hunt family, the type of people they are, the type of people that are involved in the Chiefs organization? Because you see a lot of other football, baseball, other organizations that just cannot get it right.
Well, I think if you look at the professional sports all around, I don't care if it's baseball, football, or basketball, it comes from the top.
Yeah.
And it's dependent on the commitment. When the Walmart folks were running the Royals, we went to did the World Series. Anybody surprised? I'm not.
Right.
I mean, we expected that. I mean, we
Right.
had the most powerful guy in the country owning us.
Right.
So, once he, then that kind of fell. And I mean, but let's face it, it's all cyclical. I mean, you look at what's going on out on the East Coast now.
Right.
Those teams can't win anything. And we've always chased them for all these years. Now, I would hate to be a Bronco or a Raiders fan because they haven't won anything since I was like 12.
And they're not going to for the next 15 years.
Yeah, I think
They
you're
are in
right.
the wrong division.
Sorry, guys.
Yep.
That makes it tough. But to your question, that's exactly right, or your statement. It's definitely, everything like that's cyclical, though. It's all going to come down from the top.
Yeah.
But listen, enjoy your fortune when you have it because it always changes. Don't throw your bow tie away because someday it'll come back. I mean, it's just how it works. It's just, it will come back.
Yeah. Miss Gail, why don't you talk a little bit about the key role that relationships played in you building Gale's Powersports throughout these years? Because no doubt, whether it's the team members that you've hired, the referral partnerships that you've had with other businesses, all those things are completely relationship based. So just talk about the power of relationships.
Okay, so that could take an hour in itself because it's huge. It is huge. All right, so number one, creating these relationships is so important because it was me against. I shouldn't say against, but I was there, and then there was all these other Harley dealerships to buy from, and so I had to convince them that why buy from me? You know, it's because you get me. I'm on the floor every single day, and when I go in, I don't go up to my office and hide.
The canopy up top.
Exactly.
And the nest,
You want to see me? Then you say, "Where's Gail?" Or listen up. You'll hear me laughing, and you will find me. You know, it's just the way it is. And so that it's just all part of the relationship, and people think, or they feel it on their hearts that they know me, and I love that. I love that, whether they really do or not. There's a lot of people who have only seen me on TV or heard me on the radio, but they have done it enough that they feel like they know me.
Well, Darren said that, right? He said
I felt like I knew you when you walked in. I'm like, I've seen your commercials for years, right?
I love
heard
that.
my wife talk about you. In fact, like when we were going through the courting phase, over a decade ago, I went down to your place and bought her a bunch of Harley gear, and it worked out really well.
Nice.
Way to go. Right on.
Really
Smart boy.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good.
Smart man.
Yeah.
Right? Well, that's all relationship. It's building a relationship, whether it's face to face or through the airwaves. As long as you stay real. Consistency is the key. Stay who you are. Don't pretend you're somebody else. That relationship will grow.
Love that.
That's phenomenal.
And that's
Mr.
important.
Gale, anything you want to add in terms of?
Well, I tell you, watching Gail, which is fun to do, and I mean that sincerely. I'm not patronizing her. It's fun to watch. I mean, I go in on Saturdays, and help her out and be on the floor and kiss babies, all that stuff. Right. That's what I do. And watch her and her group, because she values her group. Because the wow factor is her group. Anybody can build a building. Anybody can build a Harley.
Sure.
But it's that group and how she makes everybody come to a standard, and she makes sure that standard stays, and she leads the standard because what's your favorite saying? The herd only runs as fast as the lead horse.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yes, I say that all
that's
the
a big
time.
one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Great one.
Because that's the truth.
Bobby, put that down for our next team meeting.
That's right.
Yeah, right?
That's right. The herd only runs fast as the lead horse. And if you're out smoking with your guys and going to the river boats at noon and spending the money you shouldn't be, guess what? You're going to have issues. Yep. Don't be surprised. It's so funny how my friends go, I don't know why I'm going broke. Oh.
Yeah, right?
Are you serious right now?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so go ahead.
I was going to say also, it is the team that Gail was just talking about. The team, their relationship with each other and with the customer. It just grows. I believe in these birds of a feather flock together. So we surround ourselves. The team is made up of like people.
Well, you know what, and I'm just going to go on a limb here because I don't know this for a fact, but I'm guessing you probably have employees that have been with you for a very long time.
Long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so talk about that a little bit.
Over 20 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a testament to you and the environment that you put together, and clearly they believe in you, and, they're following you.
It's true.
They're buying into the vision.
Exactly. Yes. They've been with me through thick and thin. I've had some really bad times. Really, really hard times. There was back in 2010 when 71 highway became I-49, and they shut down the exit ramps from 71 highway to 150 highway. I'm on 150 and 71 is where my dealership is located in Grandview.
Right.
And they turned it to I-49. They rebuilt the bridge, and it took them 22 months.
Oh my gosh.
And so for 22 months, not only was the exit shut down, but you couldn't get to me because of all the
You
construction.
go all the way through the outer road.
Yes. Yeah. So there was no way. And the only road that was open to get to me was from the east. So you had to go all the way. You had to come around from the Lee Summit area to get to me. And then sometimes you still couldn't then because of construction. And so it was so difficult. It was so difficult. But and there was, I have team members who are with me today who took very, very tiny paychecks because I couldn't afford to pay them.
Right.
You know, we weren't making any money, but they did it, and they're still here, and I just love them to death because of that. I mean, we are like solid.
Yeah, because you just never know, when life's going to throw you a curveball, right? I mean, how many small towns have been decimated because the main road that went through town, they made a highway that went off to the side of it, right?
Right, like that show Cars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I remember going down to Osage Beach with my parents as a kid. We'd go down there all the time, and they had that main strip, and it was thriving. And then years ago, they built a bypass to it, and like all those killed it.
It's amazing.
It's a ghost town.
You can at 10 o'clock literally lay out in that road on 54.
Yeah.
It's kind of eerie, actually.
It is. It's like a ghost town. So, but we were kind of talking about that before the show. Is Bobby and I, we hate that word lucky as well, right? Oh, you're so lucky.
The harder you work, the luckier you get.
And it's kind of like this right behind us, right? No one sees all the crap underneath the surface of what you have to go through as an entrepreneur, and just the tough times and dealing with employees and betrayals and all that. And then everyone on social media is great for it. They just see the perfect tip of the success, right?
So right, yeah.
Just living your best
You're
life.
so lucky.
Here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I've got it written down. Everyone sees the commercials. Here's you on the radio, sees you around town. Success pyramid right here. So, like, the next question was going to be, what were some of the lows and the pivots that you've had to go through? And you said it perfectly. But yeah, like you've got to fight through that stuff.
Yeah.
And just like DC said, like no one sees that discipline. No one sees that risk. I mean, the risk thing I really wanted to talk about, because when you went from the original dealership, 10,000 square feet in Belton.
Yep.
And decided to essentially take on 5 times the risk, 5 times the size, and move it to Grandview. Talk about that. That's a risky play.
Oh, it was. Oh my gosh. I had no idea how scary it was really going to be. It was scary doing it, but it was fun. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I have to tell you that I believe with all my heart that if it's not scary, then it's not worth doing. Anything in life.
It's too boring,
right?
Right,
exactly. It's got to have a little bit of risk in it, or it's not worth it.
Yeah.
That's why I have this guy.
Because he's scary.
Scary. He is scary.
Do what's a day, boys.
Shaker, man. Right. Hold on. So yeah, it was scary to take on that and bite that chunk off. And boy, so it's a tilt-up building, which means that the building is poured out of concrete, and then the concrete is tilted up. Okay, and so with big old cranes tilt them up. Well, there's the tallest peak is 75 feet. And that is the first peak they put up. And I will never forget driving down 150 with Mr. Gale. And I saw that. And my heart just went into my stomach. And it was like, oh, my God.
That's an expensive slab of concrete.
Yes, that's exactly what I said.
Right.
Oh, my God, who's going to pay for that?
That's what she said. And you know what I said? You are.
Yeah. That's what I said.
That's amazing.
That's exactly what I said. You are.
You are. Because that really brought it home. You're like, oh, wow, this is real. Place is
the reality.
Really big.
Yeah. It suddenly got huge.
Yeah. You're like, whoever loaned me the money to do this?
Yeah, right. What are they thinking?
And we still use them today.
Yeah, we sure do.
That's phenomenal.
But it was scary. But like I said, if it's not worth it if it's not a little scary.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's worth. And here's the thing. I believe in, instead of, the way you conquer fear is just through courage. And you just have to be that way in order to accomplish anything in life. You just have to have the courage and believe in yourself that you can. Right. I never saw the obstacle in my way. I knew I was going to make it. You know, I just didn't see. I was just going to make it. I had a friend of mine one time that asked me how I got through, because there was a time when I was making such little money that at my house, the only thing I had to eat was ramen noodles. Okay,
This is,
and this
I mean,
was
this is
I
when the
owned a
dealership
Harley-Davidson dealership.
was yeah.
Yeah.
You own, I mean, this is not like when you're 22.
No,
right?
I was 40
And
something.
so I
Yeah.
think, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that's an important piece, because all the time people come to DC and I and say like, hey, I'm going to start this business. Can you guys give me some advice? And we can give all the advice in the world. We can coach somebody and give them all the tips and the tricks and the shortcuts. But if you don't have the guts and you don't have the perseverance and you don't have,
Right.
You gotta have the work
the
ethic.
sleepless nights and just basic the work ethic of what it takes to win, like it's not going to work. You can build
so
the biggest, most beautiful dealership, but if it's not you out there kissing babies and shaking hands, right? Then
Absolutely.
it doesn't fly. There's been
It's
plenty
so
of
true.
dealerships that have failed.
Yes, you know, 'cause you are so right. If I had cowered and thought, "Oh my gosh, how am I ever going to make it?" then the team would have saw that. But instead, they saw that I was out there every day, shaking hands and kissing babies and making sure it was going to work, and so they did. And so everyone just followed along, and they did this, and they said, let's climb the hill.
Right.
So
You know why?
we did.
General Worth.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. But you know why, Miss Gail? Is because failure was not an option for you. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Failure was not an option, and they saw that wasn't an option.
Yep.
You weren't teetering back and forth, and sure, you might have some scared moments in private, but you're not going to show that with them. Right?
Exactly.
You're like, let's go.
Absolutely.
It's all hands on deck.
And and on that, I have to say, part of that all was because I was with Mr. Gale at the time, who, by the way, was the one feeding me. And
Partnership.
Thank
Good
goodness.
job.
Yes.
We'd like to thank all our trash customers.
Yeah, no doubt. But here's the thing: there is no way that I would let him see me fail. There's no way that I would let my dad see me fail.
Right.
You know, and so there's that
Oh, I
too.
bet that was a big piece.
It
Yeah.
was a big piece.
Yeah.
You know,
This
the
day.
family had this such success in this town,
Yes.
and then you taking over one of those legs of the business. It had to work.
Yes. Exactly.
It had to be.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's where it comes to surround yourself with great people. You know, because you can't. It'd be very, very, very difficult to succeed if you didn't have a strong network
networking
around
team,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because you always have to have cheerleaders around you, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
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 And people who are more successful than you
Yes.
that you can strive for. Because I could not bear having Mr. Gale always for the rest of his life make more money than me.
Sure.
You know? But he does. But anyway, I do a darn good job of keeping up.
That's all right.
She does a great job.
That's
keeping
all
up
right.
with
He's fine with having a
it. No,
shirt.
we're fine.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
It's all good.
I am great with that.
Yeah, that's right.
I love it.
That's
Well, I
phenomenal.
think the big lesson inside of there is like comfortability can be a dream crusher. When you get too
Right.
comfortable,
Yes.
that is what
Point.
can crush your
Yes.
goals and your dreams, because
Yep.
it's not scary. Therefore, you can get complacent and you don't set out to do the bigger and better things. And so I think whenever I hear you speak, both of you, that's kind of the lesson that I take away from it.
That is so true.
You know, let me add a little something too. You know, I had a company back when I was young and really vibrant, and was fortunate to start Sweep America Systems. And I have a partner in Seattle, Ranger Kilwell Ross. We wrote a booklet to how to sweep. You know, sweeping was kind of new in the world.
Yeah.
So we run around the country, teach people how to get in the business, kind of like what you were talking about.
Yeah.
And when I go see a company like in Tulsa or in Des Moines, guy call me up, hey, I'll pay you to come up, look at my book, see what I'm doing right, see what I'm doing wrong. And I always go to look, see what's right. I'm not going up there just to kick the crap out of
Sure,
this guy.
right.
But it's always the same story on the way back to the airport. You're not charging enough. You're spending too much money.
Yeah.
Your game plan's not in place.
Well, there's no plan.
Or there's no
not
plan.
place, yeah.
And you don't know what the two words P&L stand for.
Oh, geez.
I mean, that's seriously.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, 9 out of 10 and not 10 out of 10 customers, companies around the country. And some of these guys running 5, 10, 12 trucks
Wow.
with 20 employees doing a significant amount of business. And you have to go in there and what we're talking about is the foundation.
Right.
So we can help them build the foundation, to build the basement that's not going to collapse when you put this beautiful house up.
Yep.
Right.
And then we start working on the house.
Right.
Then I got to talk to them. Don't buy too big a house.
Yeah.
Don't take too many trips.
Mm-hmm.
You know, wait for the Porsche. It's going to come, but it's not
Don't
today.
buy the classic cars until
Exactly,
you
until you
them.
pay cash for them.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and that's really what it was. That's what Gail and I talk about.
Yeah.
You know, and that tells you when it's time.
Yep.
You know, when somebody says, "Well, you're going to buy another company," when it's time. You know, and it works the opposite way. Like I have my barn for sale right now, Holsman Stables. I've had it 15 years. I've had a great time with it, but it's time.
Yeah.
And so, you know, time has a way to work where you want to be, how you want to be, because at the end of the day, you just want to sit there and watch the fan spin around at night and go, "Are you happy?"
Right.
Answer the question.
Yeah.
Are you happy? Are you content? Are you doing what you want to do?
Right.
Because let's face it, boys, health and freedom is success.
That's it.
It's not money.
Yeah.
I got a lot of rich
Yep.
friends are miserable guys,
Yeah.
and they got millions in the bank, and they are miserable.
Right. Exactly.
Health and success and freedom is.
It is.
I
And
love
that
that.
becomes clearer and clearer every day for me. I mean, as we get older and older, like that's when that kind of stuff comes
Sure.
into focus, right? When you're younger, it is
Yeah, you don't think
you're
about it.
just chasing, and then some things get into perspective when you're laying in your bed and you're looking at that fan circle above you.
Yeah.
And do I feel good physically?
Exactly.
Right? And am I happy?
Right.
Am I
Yeah.
So
And
true.
am I happy with the person I'm laying next to?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah,
And,
that's so
and
true.
that's really
That's huge right there.
That's
90% of it.
Yeah.
Because if you ain't, you ain't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Believe that.
Exactly. And then you got to have enough courage to change it.
That's
true.
tough, though, boys.
I know. Trust me.
How deep is that pool?
No, we know. Well, the thing that I love what you guys said is you got to know your numbers
Yeah.
on your P&L,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
You have to know your numbers because you're right.
Well, hold on. By the way, P&L stands for profit and loss.
Thank you.
We didn't clarify that.
Right. We just glossed over
We
that.
just assumed that big time, big time. But we coach people in the mortgage business, and you'd be amazed. There's a lot of people out there that are amazing with other people's numbers
Sure.
and helping them on their numbers. But then when it comes to their business or their finances, it's a train wreck,
It's amazing, isn't it?
right?
It's
Right.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah,
Sometimes
almost
it's
like a
shiny.
contractor. Contractor knocks out a gorgeous house, and you go back to his house, and everything needs to be fixed inside the house, right? Because they don't want to deal with it.
So true.
Right,
Yes.
Yeah,
It's true. Off the topics of your businesses, this is interesting. So with the waste businesses that you're kind of vertically aligned in, and especially with you kind of got some involvement with waste transfer stations, correct?
Yeah, I have a transfer station.
Okay,
There's
so
Bill.
Darren and I actually
Wow,
learned
you knew
quite
that.
a bit about this
Yeah.
in the last couple.
We didn't
of
know what
weeks.
a transfer station was until a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we
Wow.
did a podcast with somebody
Good for
where
you
we
guys.
really had to dig in. But when I was reading that about you, I got kind of excited to ask you these questions. So not too far from where kind of your hub is
Right.
in South Kansas City, Grandview, Belton, that
Mm-hmm.
corridor. Proposed landfill going in over there.
Yeah.
I'm sure you kind of got your thumb on the pulse of it.
Have you guys heard about that?
Oh, no.
Did you know that's going
no.
on?
What are you talking
Oh,
about?
yeah.
Landfill.
Yeah.
On 150? Oh, isn't there a lake right next to it?
Yeah.
Yes.
It dumps into
There's a
it.
school across the street. I
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Yeah, you know a little bit about it.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
He's not saying anything.
No, I'm being.
How about those Chiefs?
That's cool.
How about that,
Right.
Chief?
Go Chiefs.
We're going to do well Saturday.
Let's go.
We had somebody. We had Rick Myers, who's the
I love Rick.
yeah. So he
And I love everything he talks about.
Okay,
There you go.
Cool. So we had him on the show a couple weeks ago. Anyway, it was just interesting to hear that perspective. So
Yeah.
to see all of your alignment within the waste thing, it's just really really cool because we've learned so much. I mean, there's so much of that line of work. And the fact that you've done so much within one kind of umbrella, under one umbrella, is very very impressive.
So I'm getting ready to write a book called It's Just Trash. You're going to love
Love
it.
that title.
Oh, you'll love it. And I want to come back with it when I get it done.
Cool.
Yes,
So maybe we
absolutely.
can help me promote it.
Heck yeah.
But it's going to be stories about the trash business because you would not believe how important a person's trash is. Just miss it.
Really?
The phone, I'll get thousands of calls in a given hour. In an hour. Well, it's 4th of July. Are you going to pick us up this week or not, sir? I said, well, I think we're going to pick you up. I don't know. It's hard to say. Well, you missed me last week. Oh, my Lord. I mean, it's
Right.
crazy
Right.
what you go through.
Oh, exactly. I'm sure.
Yeah, so the transfer station is pretty cool. It's in Harrisville.
Yeah.
And it's not a real moneymaker, I will tell you. It was years ago, but that's kind of changed because there's so many of them. But for me, it's convenient. So when I do Dance Festopia down in Lacine in 2 weeks, I'll have a place to take my trash 24/7. I'm very fortunate to do that because now I'm not held up with GFL or Waste Management where I have to use their gate rates.
Right.
I can do my own. So
Gotcha.
That's a
It's
lot of
really-
that goes back to the freedom part, doesn't
oh
it?
baby, and it's
Yeah.
freedom. That's what it's
Yeah.
all about.
Heck yeah.
And the fact that there's his transfer station in Harrisonville, there's a transfer station in Grandview, makes the landfill ridiculous.
Right.
Just going to throw that out there.
Right. Because they're right there.
Yes.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Pivoting, Gail, 2022 Dealer News Top 100 Women in Powersports.
Boom.
That's a
Oh
pretty cool
my
honor.
gosh.
That's a pretty cool honor. That's a big deal.
Right.
Big
Talk
deal.
about that
No,
experience
that
and
was
how
so
that came
cool.
about, how you found out about it, and what it's meant for your business, and just to feel like when you're lying next to Mr. Gale in bed at night, knowing that you've been recognized as someone in this capacity, it's just really, really cool.
I really thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, I can't believe you actually found that. That's
We do our
so
research.
cool. I'd
We say this all the time.
I love
This
that.
is my line. We do more research for this than we ever did in high school and college.
Oh, we darn
Hands
do.
down.
We do.
You guys got it down.
yeah,
Yeah,
your
yeah.
professors are going, man,
Yeah.
if you'd just paid attention.
Right.
Exactly. Those C's go a long way. Oh, my God.
Yeah, well, I tell you, that was such a huge honor because, oh gosh, there's so many amazing women in power sports that I got to stand with, and it's neat. It's neat because there's not a whole lot of women in power sports, but I really don't know what else to say.
You're a humble person.
Yeah.
So let me,
Yes.
I mean,
Go ahead and expand
I'll just
for
kind of tell the story first of all,
Thank
it's
you.
phenomenal. It's hard for me to believe that. I don't know if did they rank you 1 to 100, or is it just
No, just
okay?
100.
So I would find it really hard to believe that there are many other women that would have been ranked higher than you if it was a numerical order.
Well, you're awesome.
And so I watched a couple of videos of you there at the event,
Right.
And there you are just being your normal, humble self, and you're trying to bring in these other women into the video, and you're talking them up. But you can see in the video, like, they're looking at you like, she's the shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Gail here is talking about us, but really
the bomb.
she's got it together.
Well,
So,
thank you.
Yeah, I just
That's
thought that
funny.
was really, really cool.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
really cool.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's amazing.
Go me.
That's right.
Did you get the T-shirt made? Top 100?
No, I
Should be
didn't
like
do
top,
that.
top one.
Yeah, yeah, right.
That's what I do. It's top.
yeah, right.
I'm awesome. Ask me.
yeah, right. I love it.
I know, maybe promote a little bit. I know you've got your ladies only classes at Gail's Power Sports. You're still
Yep.
doing that, right?
Yes, we do.
So maybe talk a little bit about that if there's any ladies out there that are looking to learn to ride.
Yeah, we have classes every weekend. They're great. It's a Saturday. It's all day on Saturday and most of the day on Sunday. We supply the motorcycles, and most of the classes are taught by retired and still active police officers.
Nice.
And then there's a few other people that help us out, but it's mostly retired officers. And the neat thing about that is they are very careful and make sure that you feel comfortable and know everything, because they know
Scary,
if you know,
Right.
they know the consequences. And so they want to make sure that you know what you're doing. And so you can feel good about coming to our dealership to learn how to ride a motorcycle, because when you leave, if you graduate, which you probably will, but because they will spend lots and lots of time with you. They will spend lots of one-on-one time with you. It's not a huge class. There's only 6 in a class.
Sure.
And there's 2 instructors. So
Wow.
there's
Okay, that's
tons
cool.
of one-on-one time.
Right.
And
That's a
so
good deal.
when you graduate, you can feel confident that you do know how to ride a motorcycle.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
And,
that's
yeah,
so
it's really-
brilliant. So you're spending all this time building relationships with them on a Saturday or Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
They ride a bike, they get comfortable, and they're like, man, I should buy a bike.
Where are they going to buy it from?
Right.
It's
Well,
almost
it
like this
just
is-
so happened.
Oh,
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's amazing.
You know, in
Right?
But
fact,
it's relationships,
we
you know?
have a section right in the middle of their class where they get up and they come tour the dealership, and they get to see the motorcycles that they like. So it's really cool.
That's
Thank
so
you.
smart.
Yeah, I know. It's cool.
Right, you're right. That's cool. Well, I know we're getting kind of close here to the end. We've already taken an hour. This is going by fast.
Wow.
It's going fast.
I
No
know.
kidding.
We
Three
want to come
more to go.
back.
Wow.
And don't worry, we're going to have you guys back.
Good. We want to
Something
come
else,
back.
the book,
For
whatever
sure.
it is.
Right?
It's a lot of fun.
So
yeah.
before we wrap it up, let's do a little rapid fire, okay?
Okay.
So I'll ask you, Miss Gale, thank you. How many motorcycles do you personally own?
I think 5.
5?
Yeah.
Awesome. How many classic cars, and even ones that you're trying to sell, how many classic cars do you own?
There's 22 in the fleet right now.
Wow. What's your favorite?
You know, I don't really have one.
They're just
You
all your
believe that?
babies.
Probably that 69 Camaro, that blue one. I wouldn't sell it.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to my grandson.
Cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Oh,
Can I
did
be
you hear
your
that, Grant?
grandson?
Yeah, right?
All right, Bobby and I will be out this weekend.
There you go.
Right,
come on,
right,
come on.
right.
Yeah, come out, please do.
Second rapid fire question. As entrepreneurial leaders, how many people do each of your teams combined employ? How many people are you actually getting to serve here in Kansas City by being able to provide jobs?
Oh, gosh. Okay, so me, between Shawnee Cycles, which you didn't talk about.
Sorry, Shawnee
Yes,
Cycles.
we have
You
Shawnee
got
Cycles.
Gateway in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Okay, I sold Gateway
Oh,
in
did
St.
you?
Louis.
Okay.
Yes, which is a whole other story. It's a good story.
That'll
but
be the next podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
we'll
exactly.
We'll bring it up next time.
But Shawnee's amazing. I got an incredible team over there. But between Shawnee's and Gale's, I've got 60 employees,
Wow.
probably.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
That's impressive.
With all of your things.
I'm about 80
Wow.
right now.
Nice.
And it's cyclical because in the summertime I'm real busy, and then we'll get down in the wintertime.
I mean,
Right.
just for
But-
the listeners, like that's 140, 150 people that these two people are providing.
And we're always looking for help.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, I bet. I bet you
Always.
are. Yeah.
Drivers, Class B, don't smoke dope. You're on my team.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Very good. And at the end, we'll talk about how they can get in touch with each
That'd
of you
be great.
guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
okay.
I have a quick question.
Oh, go ahead.
This is more Chiefs related. So are you guys already set up for Chiefs? I mean, with preseason, I guess our first game.
Yeah, we're doing it.
preseason,
Oh,
Matter of
yeah.
fact, as we speak, they're out there right now.
Are
getting
they?
The toilet's
Okay.
all
Yeah.
cleaned up. The key about a toilet, if you have it smelling good, you'll use it.
Right.
So I tell my guys, make it smell good. That's what they're doing
Simple,
right
but
now.
it's true.
They're making it
Yeah,
smell
right?
good.
Clean,
Simple,
smell
but
good.
true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the heavy one. Worst business mistake you ever made, each of you individually.
Oh, gosh. Let me think about that a second. Okay, so I have to say this. It's hard to have a regret when I look back because I don't believe I would be where I am right now if I didn't make that mistake.
Yep.
That's great.
Well,
So,
you don't have to
worst
regret it, but what
Right.
was something that in the moment you were like, oh, God, that was.
We like to call them learning opportunities.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because you don't lose, you learn.
Well, there are some people I've hired.
That's actually a really,
Yeah.
that's a great answer.
Yeah. Just say, you can leave it at that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I don't make a good partner. And I've done that before. And I had one partner. You remember Fuzzy's at 103rd State
Oh,
Line?
yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
that?
We used to try to sneak in there when we were underage.
Yeah. Well, so did my partner. I fired him one afternoon.
Oh, jeez.
That's probably the worst business decision I've made,
Yeah.
but I fixed it.
Yeah.
Partnerships, yeah.
It's
you
tough.
better love your partner.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's like being married.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, it's firing too slow. It would be a really.
Oh, yeah.
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 Nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
get it
we
over
did.
with.
I was just
Hire
tired of-
slow, fire fast.
Yep. That's it.
Yep.
That's
Cool.
it.
Man, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yes.
Anything else that you want to share that we didn't get to cover that you just want to make sure that people
Yes.
are aware of?
Anything else you need to promote? Any other open positions?
Well,
that's
this is
thrown out there?
my first podcast, and I didn't know it was this cool. How's that? That was cool.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's
That's
good.
You guys
right.
did amazing.
Yeah, that's good.
You really did.
It's cool.
It's been fun.
Makes you want to go home and redo your basement.
Yeah.
Right?
Put a studio in there?
Yeah, exactly. For
Have
sure.
you guys over?
Yeah, there we go.
We would love to. We drink Crown Royal and Jack.
Not a
Yes.
Just to
problem.
let you know.
Yes.
Perfect. Good to know.
Very good.
We'll bring our ladies over. It'll be
Oh
fun.
my gosh.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, guys, make sure to check out Gail at Gail's Powersports. You can check them out online at feelthepower.com. You can email Gail at Gail, Gail, at feelthepower.com. For all of your all-terrain vehicles, NV mowers, UTVs, ATVs, dirt bikes, motorcycles, get everything you could possibly want for adventure seekers. Also the location, of course, in Shawnee. And then for Gail, Mr. Gail,
Yes, sir.
with Holsman's Holsman Classic Cars.com.
.com.
And then for other businesses looking for your services for the other stuff.
AmericanCompaniesKC.com.
Perfect.
AmericanCompaniesKC.com.
Awesome. You guys have been great. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's been fun. Thank you.
This has been the Always Be Cool podcast, guys, with Bobby Kerr and Darren Copeland. And today's special guests, Gail Worth and Gail Holsman. Be sure to subscribe and leave a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Always Be Cool Podcast. Take care, everybody, and always be cool.
See you guys.
If you are hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode. And for that, Darren and Bobby thank you from the bottom of their hearts.
They hope you enjoyed this new episode. And if you did, please leave them a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever else you're listening. Please share this episode with others who may be interested in our community.
Also, feel free to let DC and BK know which business or community leaders you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Get in touch in the comments or on social media. See you next time for a new episode. And remember, always be cool.
This podcast is powered by Summit Lending, NMLS number 1850081, Equal Housing Lender.